Good afternoon. Oh, it's still morning. Good morning. Today we are continuing with working with those percentages. Our previous objective, CO24, was doing that new amount after an increase. Today for CO25, we're doing the new amount after a decrease. It's going to be very similar. All right, so here are some more situations you may be familiar with having to do with percentages. Last week you talked on the phone for 200 minutes. You want to decrease that by 30%. How many minutes will you talk on the phone this week? So if we're going to be real, because I know my kids, being just a few years older than you, they don't actually talk on the phone. They might FaceTime, they might do texting, they might do Snapchatting and all of that. So how much screen time? So instead of saying talking on the phone, we'll say screen time. We want to decrease your screen time. So how many minutes will you decrease that time for this week? Or how about the original price of a video game is $80 and this week it's on sale for 75% off. How much is the video game after the discount? Ooh, sales. We love sales, especially this time of year. You want to know how good of a sale is it? As a goalie of your hockey team, you gave up 3.7 goals per game last season. This season, that's the average, so that's why there's a decimal. This season, your goal is to decrease that by 24%. You want to give up less goals this year. So how many goals? What is the number of goals that you plan on giving up per game? So as we saw in CO24, there are multiple ways we can answer the questions above. So we could do finding the amount of decrease first, just like we found that amount of increase and then we added it on. We're going to find the amount of decrease and then spoiler, what are we going to do? No. Subtract it because it's a decrease. We're going to go down. So it's almost the same, but instead of adding it because we're not increasing it, we're going to subtract it because we're decreasing. So for that phone, we want to decrease it by 30% of the 200 minutes. So 30% of 200 minutes, we do the math, it equals 60 minutes. We want to decrease that 200 by 60, gives us 140 minutes. So remember, I didn't do the math, but you do 200 times 0.3, 0.3, right? And if we do that math, that's how we got to 60. If we're doing the original, remember it's the original times 100% plus your new percent, not plus. This time, because it's a decrease, we're going to minus that new percent. So our original was 200 times 100% minus that 30%. So 200 times 70%, 100 minus 30. So 200 times 0.7. That gets us 140. So, like I said, it's very, very similar to yesterday's objective that we just worked through, figuring out how we were doing that. So now we should understand how to do this. Instead of doing the adding, we subtract. So it's what we just worked through. So our video game, we want 75% off of $80. So 75% of 80, if we did the math, 70.75 times 80 gives us 60. So then we have to subtract it because 75% off is a lot. That video game is now only $20. Woo! Nice discount. If we do it with our original, the original price was 80, 100% minus 75%. So 80 times 25%. So 80 times 0.25, 0.25. gives us 20. Okay, so we're doing the same kind of math. I'm not working out the multiplication problems like I've been doing because you know how to multiply it. Make sure you're checking your simple math. Okay. For the hockey, he had let in 3.7 goals and he wants to do 24% of that. So 3.7 times 0.24 gives us 0.89. So we take that 3.7 and we subtract out that 0.89 and it gets us 2.81. If we were to do it with that original amount, yeah, 3.7 times 100% minus 24%. So 3.7 times 76%. 3.7 times 0.76. So if you do that math, 3.7 times 0.76, you get 2.81. So you can do it either way, just like yesterday with the increase. You pick which way makes sense to you. Do you want to subtract out the amount of the decrease from the original, or do you just want to work with that original amount and subtract out that percentage out of that 100%? Figure out which way works for you. You're going to be multiplying and you're going to be subtracting. Okay? Same kind of math that we did yesterday, except instead of adding, we are subtracting. So if we look down on our word problem, the original price of a CD is $12, but is on sale for 15% off. How much will you pay for the CD? So if we're going to do it with finding the amount of decrease, we want 15% of 12. So that means we have 12 times 0.15, 10, 5, 6, 1 times 2, 1 times 1, oops, adding. So we get $1.80 decrease. So we come back over to our $12 and we subtract out that $1.80. 1 minus 1 is 0. And we see our final price is $10.20. So we did the 15% of 20 just like we did yesterday. That math is the same, but instead of adding it, we want to subtract it because it was on sale. So it costs less. Same math, same steps, but instead of adding, you subtract. So everything we were just working through, you're going to be doing the same thing. Okay. So if you look back at yesterday's objective, that's why I spent so much time when we were correcting. So we really understand how we found those increases. Same thing we're doing for the decreases. Just don't add them, you subtract it. Show me what, no, lunch is at 11:35. It is not 2 minutes. How do we feel about the math today? Show me with your thumbs. And it's okay if you're not quite sure. Okay, I've got a few people that are like, kind of there. I don't see any thumbs down. I don't see anybody who's lost. And when we corrected earlier, there was a few of us that were like, oh my goodness, can you please go over that again? So we're feeling a lot more confident. So we're going to do today's math. We'll correct it tomorrow. And just know that if you're one of my friends that's a little shaky on it, we'll go over it again tomorrow. So I know that some of us are looking at the time going, oh my goodness, do I give a lot of math homework? On a regular day, do I give a lot of math homework? No. Today is the day that we have math homework. Okay? It doesn't happen that often. You will have homework today. Go slow. Make sure you understand how to do the math. Try to make Try to make sure you're not making any of those simple mistakes. We have another word problem. Same thing as yesterday. Check to see how much you're buying. You buy 3 bottles of pop. So is it just what, $1.80? No, there's 3 of them. So make sure that you're figuring how much it is for 3 bottles of pop. It's not $1.80. That's 1 bottle of pop. We want 3. So make sure you're using the right total there. Finding the discount, same thing that we were doing when we were finding the tip. Okay, same kind of math, except instead of adding that on, you do subtract it off that original amount. Same thing we were doing. Finding that decrease, same thing that we did yesterday. Review. For this one, 9% tax, find that. Then you're gonna, oh my goodness. This is a 3-stepper. So find the tax, that's an increase. Find the additional tip, that's an increase. So that's exactly like yesterday's problem. He put on 1 more step for today's problem. You are gonna subtract off the coupon. So the first 2 steps are exactly like the problem from yesterday's objective. You're gonna solve it the exact same way. Then you're going to subtract off that 20%. So it's a 3rd step. But we know how to do the first 2 steps. We did it in yesterday's problem. So those first 2 steps are the one that I walked us through like yesterday. Then you're going to do the decrease. Then for the review, it's like we were doing yesterday. So it's that same kind of review. So for my friends at home, if you have questions on this, make sure you come and ask me when you return. We hope you are well, and we hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.